There are some important questions we have to ask ourselves as adults, especially as millennials, taking care of Gen A, younger Gen Z students. And these questions are, what happens if this child stays where they are? What happens if nothing changes? What happens if I push my child while I'm caring for them? What happens when I balance security with privacy, understanding with knowledge? Okay, so let's get into these questions. The last one I want to answer first. What happens when I balance understanding with knowledge? We want to understand our kids, but understanding is not always the solution. We have to balance our understanding of the child, where they are, with knowledge that comes from our experience. This is really important because so many adults err on the side of understanding, and then they let their child do whatever they want to do, and the child resorts or defaults to comfort versus growth. Okay, now what happens if I err on the side of privacy versus security? Oh, I'm my child, they're really private and I just want to respect their privacy. And you cannot do that. You want to respect them as people. But when I was 8 years old, I had a journal, I had a diary, and then I found out I didn't. You know why? Because my dad got into it. He broke the lock. My mom bought the diary. He's like, oh, I want a diary. I just like the idea. I got it from TV, the idea of locking up a book and writing your secrets. Got it from TV. No social media back in the 90s. So I was watching TV, 1994. Mommy, can you buy me a journal? She buys it. Dad breaks the lock. And you think you can write and lock up a book? And I said, well, I never had another diary. I had a journal, but I didn't have a diary. And what happens? Someone may say today, you should express a sense of respect for the child and their sense of self and their self-expression to a point. Now, I think that children are worthy of all respect, and we honor them. And we say, hey, what do you think? We ask their opinion, we get their feedback, not on everything, but on the things that matter to them, that are appropriate for them to give feedback on. But if you err on the side of privacy, you are not honoring the boundaries that need to be set in order for them to even be secure as people. Because what happens when you give a child privacy and then you don't have some sense of transparency, you don't have a sense of accountability and responsibility, you have to communicate, that child becomes very private, and it's very easy for them to live double and triple lives at school without your child's school having to notify you. Online, your child has multiple accounts and they give you one, but then they don't have to give you the other one because you've been honoring their privacy. So why should they? I'm very passionate about this because us as millennials, what we've done is, my parents were really rough for me and I just want to give my child a better life. You giving your child a better life, you have to look at, what does that cost the child? What does that cost you? Does that cost them a sense of effort? Does that cost them a sense of responsibility? Does that cost them this inflated sense of self-worth? That's something they're going to have because, I'm not responsible to anybody and everybody answers to me, blah, blah. And that can seem like, wait, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's why I want you to ask these questions. What happens when? What happens when? Because us as adults, we have to have foresight. I'm a millennial. My parents are born baby boomers, just like yours. If you're a millennial, baby boomers, okay? Unless they had you later in life and they're part of the generation before the silent generation. And so they're very firm. Their parents raised them a certain way. They raised us a certain way. But I'm not throwing out everything for the sake of giving these kids a better life. There are some really great things that we can bring into the present and say, you know what? I like what my dad did. I like what my mom did. I don't like everything about it, but let me take some of that and bring it to these children. Structure, guidance, a systematic approach, a sense of fairness. You know, inclusion 30 years ago was everybody's doing it. Now inclusion means, well, so-and-so has this and so-and-so has that, and, you know, so-and-so you have to describe them as ... and so-and-so has this disorder and they... I hear you, but I know that child can do something. And some people say, well, so-and-so doesn't understand cause and effect. 2-year-olds understand cause and effect. Please stop degrading your child by saying they don't understand something when a 2-year-old understands, when a 6-month-old is learning, an 18-month-old got it. Come on. Let's not participate in the dumbing down of our children. Okay? Now, what happens if nothing changes? I'm from San Francisco. I was driving down Ocean Avenue in San Francisco. Any of you who are from here are familiar with this city, San Francisco, you know Ocean Avenue. I'm driving down. I'm thinking about the time I spent on Ocean Avenue as an adolescent, as a child. And the question came to mind, what happens if I would have, what would have happened, because it's done now, it's not even going to happen, but what would have happened if I didn't go off to Howard University? What would have happened if my parents didn't push me? If they would have said, you know what, Ashley, we didn't do too good, but we didn't do too bad. You could just be here with us. What if they would have said that? I would not be here talking to you today. I wouldn't be here talking to you today if they did not push. What if I would have just said, you know what, and nothing against 2-year colleges. They're wonderful, wonderful. But what if I say, you know, I'm just going to go to City College and I'm just going to see, you know, what's at the library. Let me be very clear, because I know this is the age where people can take a clip and take it out of context and all of that stuff. So you can do whatever you want by making this in context. Let me be very clear. There's nothing wrong with 2-year colleges, going to the library, getting the resources. That's what it's there for. If I didn't get into Howard, that was my plan. But I got into Howard. And then I went off to Brown University. And then I came back to San Francisco and I had to work my way from the bottom, starting out to where I am today. Self-employed, being able to do what I enjoy, what I love, and discover more levels of it. And I get to choose who I get to work with. And although there's so much economic uncertainty, I have been covered since day one. Okay, I've got testimony after testimonies. We can't make this video that long. That'll be here for the next, however long telling you. But what if I didn't go on? What if they didn't push me? What if they would say, well, Ashley, we're just focusing on today and making you comfortable. We just want to make sure that you don't hate us. What? I'm warning you, beautiful, wonderful parent. Do not set your child up for failure because you are afraid of their success. Do not set them up. Don't set them back because you don't know what's coming next. Push them anyway. Do not set them back. Do not hold them back because you don't have all the resources. It will work out. I had to take out loans. My sister had to take out loans. And this is her testimony. Her loans are paid off. Okay? I'm in the process. In the name of Jesus, I'm in the process. But hers are paid off. And she went off to Bennett University and Columbia University. Okay? What happens if we don't push our kids? They will never know what they could have been. I promise you, you want to practice being in the place where you are eliminating the mystery. Look, we can't see what's going on a day, 2 days from now. Anybody can make a prediction. But the best way to have some certainty is to create. And you put your child on the path to pushing them. You set an expectation they can reach it. And that's how you create certainty, by saying, you know what, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to set up this environment so you have the skills and you open those gifts that you have and that intelligence and you put it to work. You ask for help. You use your resources. But do not settle because you want to be better than your parents were. or you don't want to do what they didn't do, I'm sure you can find, even if it wasn't in your immediate family, I'm sure you could find some adults who gave you something that may not fit into today's gentle parenting model, or conscious parenting model, but it still worked. It still worked. And I'm not saying hit him with a wire. No, I'm not saying that. There are some things that we benefited from, and they are backed by science, and they worked. And it may not have felt good in the moment, but it wasn't about being emotionally coddled. It was about learning how to balance the feelings with the facts and get things done. I hope this makes sense to you. Do not hold your child back trying to be better than the adults who mistreated you. That's the bottom line. Give them a chance to succeed. Set an expectation. Watch them rise. And if you want to find out what that looks like, I want you to email me. In the description below is my email. I look forward to hearing from you soon.